What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the PT Cubed podcast, episode 4, pain. Right off the bat, pain. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But first, let me tell you about some pain of my own. You're probably wondering right away, how does this guy sound so much better than he did last time? Like it just keeps getting better? Well, let me answer that for you. I forgot the cord to my mic on the way out of my apartment, so I am using the equipment in the recording studio today. Turns out it is much better than my own. It's going to be hard to go back to my mic that I just bought. But anyway, I spent about an hour in here trying to figure out how micro USBs and HD, I don't even know, bunch of tech bullshit cords and everything. I don't know how any of this works, but I figured it out. So I have a soundboard now and all these cool dials and things I'm going to pretend like I know how to use. I can do this though. Bruh. It's pretty funny, right? Bruh. I recorded that myself. Anyway, welcome back. And yeah, I'm just going to give you the spiel I always do. I encourage you to open your ears, minds, hearts, all that, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be talking about some deep shit. Basically, that's the point of my intro. And we're going to be trying to introduce some new questions, maybe some solutions for yourself, ask difficult questions, dig into topics ignored, brushed over because they make you sad, and they make you really think about your feelings and your emotions and feel them, which we should be doing because we're humans. And the whole point of this all is just to develop a better relationship with yourself and your own mind. Introspection, reflection, man. I'm always going to be coming back to it. That is the core of the show. So, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you for tuning in. And you're listening to PT Cubed, live from the upgraded for a fourth time now studio. Let's go. An unpleasant sensory and emotional experience associated with or resembling that associated with actual or potential tissue damage. Blah, 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 blah. What does that mean? Because that's pain. That's what they say pain is based on the literature. But what is pain to you? It's usually a signal, right? From your spinothalamic tract, which doesn't matter. Just some PT knowledge. It usually tells you that you're doing something really stupid. We're talking bad pain, like the pain, you know, like the whoa, the reflex signal to get your hand off the freaking stove or pull your head out of the fire, you know, stop chopping off your finger, that kind of thing. You got pain receptors everywhere and they're there to protect you. But pain isn't always necessarily a bad thing. There's tons of things that cause pain that in the long run are actually helping you. That's called adaptability. So there's been a little bit of that going on in the history of our world. Evolution, adaptability, creating new things to stop old things that hurt you. There's a lot of animals that developed pretty much honed every single aspect of their entire being to survive in a certain climate or environment or counter some predators hunting tactic. You know, even plants do it too. They have defense mechanisms and they're all based on adaptability. You know, how can we get hurt less? Because you feel pain, and every living being, I think, actually don't quote me on that, but I think most living beings experience pain. And, you know, to a certain degree, it's like, how do I stop that from happening? I don't like that. I don't like that feeling. So you either don't do the thing that caused the pain initially, or you keep doing it over and over and over until you adapt to it. And that's pretty much the basis of physical training, physical strength, feats, you know, athleticism, becoming a better runner, becoming a better lifter, becoming anything in that aspect. You do things repeatedly over and over and over that feel like shit and that leave you feeling very sore, very broken down, very like, wow, this is awful. You know that feeling when you're like first couple weeks in the gym or first couple weeks doing something new to your body and it's not familiar with it? It sucks. Like, why does it take me so long? But then a month later, you do the exact same thing, and your body's like, "No, we're good. We're good. We know about that one." You put a 300-pound barbell over your head so many times and try to press it. Eventually, your body removes those restrictions of like, "Hey, that might hurt us," and it's like, "No, we're good. We're chilling." I mean, it hurt when we dropped it on our face the first time, which I did, but now we're fine. You know, we know he won't do that anymore, so we'll let him lift it. And Adaptability is necessary for growth. Boom. Mic drop. Back to growth, back to introspection, back to reflection. You didn't think I'd go back, but I did. I did. And I will keep going back. So, I know I started with pain, but I think today's episode is gonna really, really hone in on adaptability, using pain as an example because it's a pretty prominent one. Well, you just went to the mall and got yourself a nice new pair of Vans, and they look sick, and you're already getting compliments, but honestly, they hurt. That that little spot on the back of your ankle that keeps scraping on the shoe, it hurts pretty bad. And now you've got a big ass blister on the back of your foot and it's bleeding all over your new shoe. And you're like, "What the hell, man?" But you keep wearing the shoe because it's too cool to like. I'm not gonna stop wearing my shoe just because of a little blister, and it hurts really bad for like 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden your ankle's like, you know what? Hey, let's get some armor over here. And next thing you know, you got some big callus looking thing on the back of your ankle, and now no shoe can mess with your foot anymore. Um, Adaptability stemming from pain. A very stupid example, but I mean, you've got this shit going on in every aspect of your life, and you don't even notice it. I mean, I'm giving physical examples, but humans are especially good at emotional adaptability to pain. Um, and that's something I want to really, really cover today because I think most people understand the concept of physical pain, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, whatever, that kind of stuff. And it's true. It's true. Keep training and you'll find that it becomes easier because it actually becomes fun instead of painful. Your body adapts, your body's used to it, your body wants it, starts craving it. It's like a routine. And now the thing that used to hurt you and leave you debilitated on the couch for like a week is like the thing that you look forward to in your week. And honestly, that's kind of how it's becoming for me with running. I still get scared when it's like long runs and stuff coming up, but I really crave that like post run feeling now, that euphoric, like body high of like, wow, I just did something that I didn't think I could do. And you can derive that same pleasure from emotional adaptability, reflection, introspection, feeling your emotions. In the same way that you have to feel the physical strain of these feats that you're performing, you have to feel the emotional strain of your feelings, of your thoughts, of all these things that you keep shoving aside. You have to feel them because they hurt. And that's emotional pain. The definition here says sensory emotional experience associated with or resembling tissue damage. So it's quite literally saying that pain is an emotional experience that doesn't even there doesn't have to be any tissue damage involved. No physical wounds, anything like that. It's your body telling you bad, not good. And this can stem from a variety of things. Most times people's mind go physical, but no, we're talking about emotional specifically today. Strengthening your mind, becoming strong emotionally, becoming strong up in your brain, not down in your body. How do you how do you build up your brain as a muscle? How do you make your mind the biggest muscle in your body? So, I want to really talk about how to have that winner mindset, how to take pain and enjoy it, and like the Marines say, embrace the suck. How do you embrace the suck? We have to suck first. So things need to suck in order for you to embrace the suck, and this is why you need to put yourself in uncomfortable and not dangerous, but um, new, not pleasant environments, just stuff that you're not used to. Because in order for this whole adaptability thing to start, you have to actually do something that you don't usually do. And like I said in the last episode, courage must continuously test itself. You want to test your courage, go do stuff you don't usually do. Say no to things you usually do. Say yes to things that you don't usually do. Reference to episode 3. Get out there and try something new. Maybe it's physical, maybe it's an emotional therapy, maybe you start journaling. I mean, that's probably, unless you get like carpal tunnel or something from writing so goddamn much, I'm pretty sure that you're not going to derive physical pain from that, but I could be wrong. Start journaling or start reflecting on your day. It's an emotional exercise that will cause strain and pain, especially if you're not used to analyzing your own thoughts or thinking about some of the the hardships in your life, but you keep doing it. And guess what? In the same way that running over and over and over makes you better at running, thinking and feeling and being in touch with your emotions over and over and over, it makes you stronger. It makes you mentally stronger, which is arguably more important than being physically strong because I look at it as a stepping stone to physical strength. I mean, you can train as hard as you want, but if you don't hone your mind and you don't make yourself strong mentally, you're really, really cheating yourself a huge aspect of that development physically because you're only as strong as your mind allows you to be. And there's so much work to be done up in your mind that will make you believe things about yourself. You know, you can call it whatever you want, gaslight yourself into thinking that you're like so much better than you really are. But if you can do that and there's actually some like shred of belief behind what you're telling yourself, you're going to go leaps and bounds beyond where you currently are, like especially in trying new things. If you can sit there, I was just talking about this today. I had my longest run yet today. It's not very long compared to most runners, but again, I'm a new runner. It's like 4 miles. Um, I was dreading it all morning. I did not want to go. I was so sore from the leg day the day before, and I was texting one of my friends, and they were telling me like, dude, like, where's your mental toughness? You know, you bring it into everything else you do in your life. Where is it right now? Like, why are you scared? Just go do it. Like, all right, fine. Jeez, I guess I needed to hear that. So I just went and sent it, came back, and I was like, wow, I could have kept going. Like, it's sometimes you need an external, like extrinsic motivation, a little push from someone else or something else. But once you start doing these things repeatedly, testing your mind, testing, you hit that breaking point. That's something I really want to talk about later. But in everything you do, you're going to hit a breaking point where you feel like you are physically or mentally not capable of continuing. That point is not the end point. I'm telling you right now, it's not the end. Like it, unless you're like in battle and you're about to get decapitated or something, it's not the end. I promise you. There is more left in the tank. That is your mind basically recognizing you're about to hit your previous baseline of what you thought was like the top limit for yourself. If you push beyond it, all of a sudden it's like a new level. I don't really know how to describe it, but like it's a really easy thing to feel physically, like you get to that 1 mile and you run, and you're like, that's it. I'm done. I'm checked out. But then you just somehow like gaslight yourself into keep running. And next thing you know, it's like it's not your legs that can't keep going. It was your mind that thinks that your legs can't keep going and you're still going. And next thing you know, 2 miles are and this is anything. This is anything. If you break the barrier and you just don't accept that exit point and simply keep going or keep trying, you're going to make your mind realize what you're actually physically capable of. That's why I say that mental toughness is arguably more important than physical toughness because it buffs the other one. So I think that it's critical to continuously test your own mind. And I want to talk about some ways that we can do that or some ways that it honestly happens involuntarily. The first thing that we're going to stop doing right now and never again, we're done. This is it. Boom, into the trash pile. Saying that you are not something, verbalizing that I am not blank. I am not, I'm not good at playing music or I'm not good at drawing. I'm just not that person. I'm not a runner. You saying these things, you don't understand how profound of an effect that has on your mind. You're you're convincing yourself that you're not something before you even attempt to be something. So it's like now from that point on, your mind has associated like, you hear that thing and you're like, "Oh yeah, I don't do that. Like we're not good at that." Why are you not good at that? Unless you that is not a valid statement unless you have tried to do that over and over and over through your entire lifespan and somehow never made any progress. At that point, fine, sure. That's not for you. But until then, until you have tried and tested and exhausted every single effort to be better at that thing that you say that is not for you, you need to stop with that mindset right away because it starts you off in the negatives. It's like, why would you tell yourself that you're not good at something instead of just going in with no expectations and trying to be the best at whatever it is that you're talking about, you know? Um, Adaptability is not just like a thing that magically happens, like, you have to allow yourself the chance for it to happen. So, when you wake up and, you just spent the whole night talking about your goals and all these new things you wanna do and all these expectations that you have for yourself, and you talk and talk and talk about that person that you wanna be, and then suddenly you're confused on, "Well, how do I actually become this person? I talk about it all the time, but none of my habits, none of my actions, anything are changing, like, I'm stuck." It's everything's stagnant. You're not doing anything new. You're talking about new things, you're not acting on new things, you're not allowing courage to test itself, you're not allowing the chance for adaptability because you're scared. Everyone is scared, and it is just a straight up lie if you say that you're not scared. Things in life are scary. Routine is comfort for a lot of people. Most people that I know find and derive comfort out of just having structure in their day or having routine in the things that they do. And it's not bad to have a routine. Honestly, that having a sleep routine, a sleep schedule is pretty much what just fixed my entire day-to-day productivity, and that's another story, but you need to be careful not to get too absorbed into routine and structure. It's okay to have your day blocked out, and it's totally okay to schedule and, plan ahead, but you need to start being a little bit more spontaneous if you wanna see these drastic changes in your life, especially when you're on a path with new goals, you wanna become this new person, do these new things. You need to step away from what has been the norm for yourself. That's adaptability because you're gonna adapt, and it's gonna be, quote, unquote, "painful" at first, like, maybe it doesn't physically hurt, but it's gonna suck. You're gonna get that same pain response from your mind elicited when you suddenly take this thing that you've been doing all this time that you're so comfortable with, that your body is so like, it's just second nature to you. It just, "Yeah, I wake up, I do this, I do that, and as long as I get these things done in my day, then we're fine." And that's what you've come to know. Suddenly, you throw a new variable in and everything goes to hell, and it's like, oh, people hit this panic zone when they add a new thing in where it's like, "Oh, man, I don't know if I can actually handle this. I'm already feeling thrown off." You have to keep doing it. That exit point, that, like, you know, point of no return I was talking about during the run or during these things that you're trying, like, it's that same thing. You have to push past it. You can't see the other side from the before. There's no way to look past it and see what's past it. You have to experience it to retrospectively look back and be like, "Oh, I got over the hump." Like, it was just, thank God I kept going, because had I stopped, I would never would have made it here. It's like an invisible wall. It's a wall. Excuse me. It's a wall that stops you only if you allow it to. So, you add that thing into your schedule, okay? You do it the first 2 times. This is usually how it goes for people. You get to attempt number 3 or 4, and your mind's like, "All right, we're not excited about this anymore. We don't wanna really, like, you know, this cold shower thing, it hurts. I don't like the way that it feels. It feels sucky when we get out of the shower and it's freezing cold." And it's like, we were all excited about this at first, felt like, if I take cold showers, I'll be a better person. Well, here we are in day 4, and it's like, this just seems stupid. Like, what is this actually doing for me? It's changing things up. Like, take cold shower and change that to whatever you want it to be. It's changing things up. It doesn't matter how small it is or what it is, or if you want to go like the whole, crazy self-improvement route of like, I'm gonna take ice baths every day and like go into the sauna every time I work out. And it doesn't matter what it looks like for you. Do whatever you want. It's literally just simply changing something and then sticking to it like you said that you would. You're reinforcing things, you're adapting, you're proving to your mind that you're actually capable of doing something that you say you're going to do. Because so many people just make empty promises to themselves. Like, you don't realize how critical that is. Because a lot of people, they're like, "Yeah, I'm not letting anyone down." It's like you write up all these goals, you don't make them public because you don't want anyone to know if you give up on them. And that's why I took all my goals for the year, what I had set for my goals for the year. I got a lot more now. And I stuck them on Instagram on my page because I'm like, you know what? I want other people to read this and then be expecting it from me. Not so I can like hang my head in shame when I know I'm not going to accomplish a couple of them. I set very high expectations for myself, like too high. And, I already reviewed my expectations and goals for 2023 and I hit most of them. I hit like 80% of them. That's change. That's adaptability. I became a new person, a better person. You don't have to succeed in every single thing that you take on, especially if you're trying to juggle a bunch of different things at once. So take it step by step, take it slow. You don't have to just dive into a new life. You get so excited about this idea of being a new person. This is why there's an immediate drop off after January. It's always new person. How do I commit? And I talked about this in episode 1 with bridging the gap, but I specifically want to talk about it now in terms of pain and adaptability. So people drop off because it's painful and it's not fun anymore. The fun idea is gone and now you're in the reality of living that life that makes you the new person and it's not fun. It doesn't feel good. But you can't see the invisible wall that sits so freaking close to you. You don't understand how close it is. And this is what aggravates me so much is because I have stopped so many times in different things that I've done to try to change my life right before the invisible wall. And I know that because I revisited those things years later down the road. Like, all right, come on, man. Like, you're stronger. You're a better person now. You can figure it out. But it's not that I'm stronger. It's not that I'm older with more life experience. It's that I simply have gone through the very taxing process of like mentally building myself up through really 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 being honest with myself and constantly hammering in like holding myself accountable for things. Going through that process now makes other things a lot easier because I'm already very critical on myself. So now I know, in the back of my mind when I'm doing things like, okay, the invisible wall is there and we're going to get over it. No day is going to feel the same as the last. There's going to be days when you wake up and you're doing that thing that you want to do, that you said you were going to do, but there's just no interest whatsoever. You got to do it on that day. Be the best of your worst. Be the best of your worst. And if you keep being the best at your worst, all of a sudden, you don't even have to be your best. You can just be your middle, your average, and you can still get the work done because you adapted. You don't see it happen. This is not something that you can actually watch occur. And it's not like you have a loading bar, like a heads up display on you are 60% to adapting to this new task that you've embedded in yourself. That's the hardest part about it. It's literally faith. It's belief that you can fundamentally change something about your life by just repeatedly doing it. But I'm here to tell you that you can. And there's a lot of people that will speak to that and tell you you can. You just have to believe in those incredibly difficult moments when you're ready to give up that there is an invisible wall right in front of your face. And if you have to picture it laughing at you and mocking you and flipping you off, then picture that. There's a wall right in front of you that doesn't want you to get over it, but you're fully capable of getting over it. It's just, are you willing? You are capable. Are you willing? So, how do you combat this pain and this adaptability process? How do you actually make it work like for you? And I'd like to give you a tool for your toolbox. It's something that works for me. Maybe it doesn't work for you, but I would recommend that you try it. Um, Throughout this whole process of introspecting and assessing myself and understanding what drives me and where I, want to see myself, I created this image and I'm very familiar with this image. He's a good friend of mine, and he's me 10 years from now. And it's not how I expect myself to be, it's how I know I'm going to be. And that's the mindset you need to get yourself into. Be familiar with yourself in the future and know that that is you in the future. Set expectations for yourself, but then ditch expectation, ditch question marks. That's you. So, how do you fully come to realize that? How do you make that person you? Well, that invisible wall that I'm talking about for me, that's just how I tried to, some imagery for you guys, like a big wall that doesn't want you to get over. For me, that's literally me. That is me in the future. And it's not that he doesn't want me to get over. It's that he knows that I'm going to need to be tested in order to be as great as I want to be. So when I'm doing things that are difficult for myself, mentally, physically, anything, I I see myself. I see that person that I know I'm gonna be in the future, and it's my responsibility to do the things that are necessary to become that person. He knows what they are because he's already done them. So, when I see him standing there in those dire moments of the most difficult tasks that I'm taking on and new things and, that process of adapting, maybe he's taunting me, maybe he's flipping the bird and making a little fun out of the situation, but it's all in good heart, It's all for good reason. He wants me to succeed, he wants me to become him because I am gonna become him. But this is the process. This is what I'm saying. If you can and, some people they don't like the whole "Oh, this is what's destined for you," and like, "How can you just believe this kind of stuff?" And it's a tactic. It's something that if you can genuinely become true to yourself with, all it does is help you. There's no negative to this. So maybe I am just stuck in dreams and stuck in an idealistic mindset, but is there really a problem with that if all it's doing is making me a better person? You know? This is why I'm giving you this tool. Know your future self. See them. Like this is a task for you. This is something that I did during my whole, path through introspection was okay, um, I understand what needs to be worked on right now, and I think I start to understand some of these problems that I see in myself, but who am I down the road? Like what is this gonna get me to? Who is that person that's waiting for me to walk into their shoes? Who is Nate Karam fully realized? So once I started asking those questions and I started building up this picture of this man that I see myself as, it started to make goal setting and adherence to goals a whole lot easier because once you have that and once you fully convince yourself like this is you and you've got a lot of work to do and a lot of tests to overcome to become that person, it's your responsibility to be that man, to be that woman, to be that person that is the best version of you, your higher self, if you will. And really that's what I come to every single time when I can't get on with the standard motivation tactics of, read self-help books and journal your thoughts and, you know, talk to your friends and really try to analyze it. It doesn't if sometimes none of that's going to work. Like just keeping it real, it's just not sometimes. There's going to be times where no matter what you read, no matter who you talk to, nothing's going to make you feel better. Maybe you're down in a really really deep emotional hole, you know? Um for me, I was at absolute rock bottom back when I was like 18 and I first went to undergrad and I went through a breakup and it kind of really rocked my world because I didn't know at that time that I had no identity. I mentioned that in the last episode, but in those times during that, that teenager span of my life, I didn't have any identity. I didn't know who I was. I never did any kind of work on myself. I just got all my satisfaction from like dumping myself into other people and absorbing what other people are. And I did that very, very aggressively with my ex-girlfriend at that time and pretty much just like became her, like took in all her hobbies, like all of her, that kind of stuff. I wasn't my own person is the lesson here. And I didn't know that until we broke up. And then it was just this like deafening, like crushing, completely debilitating feeling of like, I don't even have a life. Like what how can I possibly feel this low? I was just, I was just laying in my bed. I couldn't move. I wouldn't get up. I would just cry all day. I couldn't eat food. I could like my dad had to come to my my campus to come like walk around with me and get me out of my dorm. It was pathetic. Like retrospectively, it was pathetic. But I'm so glad that I took the time to actually feel out those emotions and understand what true pain really feels like. Like the consequences of not establishing your own identity, that's it right there. That was one of the biggest lessons in my life. And, you're probably thinking like, wow, this girl really messed you up. Like, no, it's not like, it's funny enough, we're actually like very good friends now. And I've actually thanked her. Um about a year or two ago. Just, out of the blue, I was just thinking about everything that's come to make me me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm actually really grateful that she made the decision at that point in time to separate our lives, make them individual, because it was a huge growth time for both of us. Like we had to have that space and appropriate time to become our own person. And it really hurt in the moment and it really sent me to rock bottom. But retrospectively now when I look at that, it was, I mean, like, she did us both a solid there. We both became very, very driven, successful, passionate people. And I'm so proud of both of us, honestly. And it's great to be friends again. Um, but you have to learn those lessons the hard times sometimes, and there's a lot of pain associated with it. And when I was in that hole, I started going to therapy. I got like I guess it wasn't a official therapy session, but it was my dad's friend from back in high school, and he's like a life coach. I, it's therapy. It was therapy for me, and it was a different kind of therapy, I guess, than most people experience, and it was very me focused. There wasn't a lot of him talking, him giving feedback, anything like that. It was like he would listen, okay, and then ask me a reflective question. And it was never something that I could just answer right off the bat. It was always like, "Oh, come on, man, like, you gotta be bringing up all these complicated shit." And I would have to take these questions and really just sit on them for, like, a long time. I mean, like, days, weeks, and then come back to him with the answer that I truly understood at that point. And that is literally where I could pinpoint this entire journey of, like, identity. This guy literally helped me find my identity when I was at my absolute worst, and it was through pain leading to adaptation. Because once he made me start doing these things, these reflective exercises, these really deep, kind of gnawing questions that made me feel really shitty because I had to start accepting things about myself and realizing like, "Oh, wow, like you don't actually know who you are. You're just a combination of a bunch of other people." Once I realized that, it really snapped me out of it. And that's when I started depicting this future image of myself. And I still to this day, I remember sitting in my bed in my dorm and I was just staring at my wall. This is coming toward the end of all this dark period for me. And I like saw myself, at age 28. I'm like, dude, we're going to get there. That's you. You already know it's you. It's just a matter of the work that we put in now. And that's been my pole vault over every invisible wall in my life. I take myself back to my worst moment, my like darkest time. There's like that's pretty minor example, I guess, compared to some trauma that different people have gone through. But it's not about comparing your trauma to others. It's about understanding what makes you you, understanding what causes you pain, how to relieve that pain, and how to continue to make sure that that pain doesn't come back. How to make the most of it, really. How do you turn a bad situation good? How do you turn bad memories into lessons? And that is really what I got out of that entire experience of the most pain that I've felt in a long time was, you know, it's gonna hurt in the moment. It's not gonna be fun, but you will adapt. And then you're able to retrospectively look back on these events and actually pull good out of them. And it teaches you lessons that will never be apparent to you in the moment. It's seeds planted in your head, and they start growing and eventually they blossom way later in life when you're not expecting it and you're like, "Oh my god, that makes so much more sense now. I understand. I get it." And I promise you that's coming. But you've got to do the work. You've got to do the uncomfortable stuff. You got to address the uncomfortable stuff. The last point that I want to touch on here, and honestly the most important point, is positivity kills negativity every time. Every single time. It does not matter what it is, it wins. And you can try and test this as much as you want, but I'm just giving you the answer right now. You have the answer key, so just use it. Positivity will win every time. Kindness beats hatred. It's a really simple process. Hatred can only go on existing if it's fueled by more hatred. And kindness can literally come from nothing. Kindness can come from the most insane amount of hatred that there is. And all it takes is one tiny little bit of kindness, one kind act to just shatter all of it. Like parents always tell their kids, or I guess some parents tell I guess some would just tell them, hey, beat the kid up. But like, um, good parents would tell their kids, hey, when you're getting bullied and you're faced with negativity and you don't know what to do, just be the bigger person. Be nice. Because people genuinely don't know how to respond when they come at you with aggression and with hate and you're just nice to them. It's like the ultimate flashbang, you know? They have no idea what to say. It's a bruh moment, bruh moment, and you'll throw them off. And I've said this before, we talked about the concept of planting seeds in people's heads, but you could the most hateful person in the world, there's something going on. Okay, find a way to look past the fact that they're treating you poorly and understand that the only reason why they're doing that is because they have probably been treated poorly, or there's something, behind the scenes that's going on that has made them act the way they are. People don't just magically take on roles and traits and actions without, catalysts to that action. Like no one just wakes up and decides to be an asshole. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. But most people, it was something bad that happened to them, and now they feel like they need to project it onto other people because it's like, well, I've been mistreated, so no one else deserves to be treated right, But if we escape that mindset and realize that all it does is just pull down everyone else around you, like, what is the point of externalizing that energy to everyone around you, to the world? It does nobody any help. And specifically, if you think it's going to help you, it's hurting you the most because you're constantly reinforcing this behavior and pain. You will never stop feeling pain until you stop your negative habits and your output of hatred and judgment on other people, because no matter what you say, any amount of judgment, any form of judgment that you pass on to other people stems from something that's going on inside you. And that's why you need to be self-aware, because the more self-aware you become and the more attentive you are to your own kind of downfalls and your own problems, you're going to be a lot less judgmental of other people. Not because you're just suddenly beginning, be a more forgiving person. It's because you're going to understand your own shortcomings, your own vices, everything like that. And if you can be patient with yourself, you can be patient with other people. Wow. That was actually one of the worst voice cracks I've ever had. You can be patient with other people. The whole concept of stoicism, of all this stuff, everything that I talk about, if you want to really just simmer it down to one little thing, be critical with yourself, but patient with others. You can never go wrong doing this, and not critical like bully yourself, but critically analyze yourself. Be that heavy hand. Like drop the hammer on yourself. Don't drop it on other people. Once you're able to do that, you're going to understand so many more things about human interaction. You're going to understand yourself. You're going to understand where your own thoughts come from, but then it's going to help you understand the actions of other people and make you more patient with them. Because if you can be patient, if you can be kind, if you can be gentle with other people, you're literally helping the entire world, because people are going to start reciprocating those actions. People spit back at you what you give at them. You ever try just walking around for a day and being nice to everyone? Because I guarantee you might not see it, might be on a little microscopic level in the world, but you're lowering the amount of pain that's occurring in this world. Because remember, it's emotional. You know, it also helps to not walk around punching people in the face and shanking them, but you can also reduce pain in this world by simply being a kind person. It's really not a hard task. People make it out to be a hard task. It's not. Okay? Just take a breath when you're receiving hatred and negativity and then flip the script. It only takes one person. You want to talk about like work environment, work culture, stuff like that. It only takes one person doing the job correctly to fix an entire work culture. It only takes one person emotionally responding correctly to fix an entire emotional culture of a population, of a friend group, it starts small, but it expands. If one person in your friend group You decide to be kind to everybody. Next thing you know, your buddies start being a little bit nicer. Now their buddies start being a little nicer because they're being nicer to them. Nice, 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 kind, kind, kind. Now it's everywhere. It's spreading like a virus. That's the kind of shit you want to be spreading around. So, my closing remarks. It's up to you. It really is. No one's coming to help you. That's an important thing that you need to understand. No one is coming to hold your hand to walk you through all of your life's problems. So, you need to be that solution for yourself. See your future self. Let them be the one that helps you. Let them reach a hand down and pull you up. If you know them for who they are, you understand yourself and the person that you want to be, and you understand how to bridge that gap, and you know about the invisible wall, and you know it's coming, at least you know it's coming. Then you know you can overcome it because you've done it before. Just because it was something else unrelated to what you're doing now, it doesn't matter. It's that same wall in everything that you do. Overcome the wall, prove it to yourself, and your mind will believe in anything. You will get to a certain point where your mind understands that you're just that guy, you're just that girl. You're going to get it done. It's going to happen one way or another. If you can convince yourself that it will happen, it's just a matter of how do I get there, then it's going to happen. Just keep doing it. Stick to it. You're going to adapt. You are going to adapt. That is literally what humans do. It's in our nature. So let it happen. Don't stop the process, prematurely when it's just ready to start firing on all cylinders. So, thank you for listening today. Today's topic was a little bit of a hybrid one, pain and adaptability. But really, what I'm asking of you guys is just to stop the cycle of hatred, go all Naruto on you here. It really just be nice. There's nothing stopping you from being nice. There's no reason to not be nice, but there's a lot of reasons to not be mean and to not be hateful and project your own problems on other people. So when you feel like you're going to say something mean to someone, you're going to act out in a way that's not what you would consider yourself, breathe, take a moment, think on it, reflect, understand where those thoughts are coming from. Why are you mad? And usually you can find something within yourself that is becoming that problem that you're sensing in the other person. And just remember, everyone is struggling and everyone's working on themselves in some way, whether or not you see it. So be patient with other people and be critical with yourself. I don't think the voice crack's ever going to stop, guys. That's all I got for you today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really, really thank you. The plays now I think are at like 3.5K. It's crazy. It's unreal. So thank you all for listening. And I really hope that some of this stuff, breaks through that barrier, gets to your brains and helps you start working on some problems. But yeah, as always, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day. And thanks for coming.